Let's swing over to London, to the BBC, where Ross Atkins is waiting. He's the presenter of the BBC World Service programme, World Have Your Say. Ross, tell us who's with you there.
Lee, hi, and Secretary Clinton, you're very welcome to the BBC's new home here in London. I've got 5 guests. They come from Britain, Greece, Germany and Italy. And our first question is from Carolina.
Madam Secretary, my name is Carolina. I come from Turin in Italy. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the most powerful diplomatic tool? Do you think that it's more economic preponderance or legitimacy and international status, or perhaps just access to the media? And would you have given me the same answer 4 years ago?
That's a great question. I think all 3 are different and they are used differently at different times. Certainly one of my responsibilities when I became Secretary of State was to restore American leadership in the world. It had been somewhat damaged, and we needed to get out there and reach out to people, demonstrate our willingness to be everywhere in the world, working with people who shared our values and our aspirations, solving crises, doing what we could to deal with many of the underlying problems. It's also very important, however, to focus on technology and communication, because 4 years ago, that was not part of diplomacy. We have brought a lot of the tools of modern technology, social media, into the State Department. In fact, we're using them now with Twitter and Facebook, because there needs to be a two-way conversation. It's no longer governments just talking at people, whether it's talking at other leaders or talking at populations. There has to be a dialogue, and people are hungry for that, young people in particular. They deserve to have their views heard and acted on as we shape the world for the future. So these are the kinds of considerations that we are constantly balancing, and we need to do a better job, frankly, at those tools you mentioned and others that have to be deployed.
Secretary Clinton, thank you very much for answering Carolina's question. We certainly appreciate the chance to connect BBC viewers and listeners with you today. Our next question comes from Octavia, who's from Germany.
Good morning, Madam Secretary. My name is Octavia. I'm from Frankfurt in Germany. My question is the following. The Obama administration has stressed its intentions to reset and improve its relationship with Russia. So far, however, it seems like this project has failed if we think, for example, of recent disputes over Russia's stance towards the Assad regime in Syria, Iran's nuclear ambitions, and the Magnitsky Bill. In your opinion, do the United States need Europe as an intermediary in order to achieve a relationship of mutual trust and cooperation with Russia one day?
Well, another excellent question. I think it's not either or. The United States has a very important bilateral relationship with Russia. During the last 4 years, we got a new nuclear weapons agreement to decrease our stockpiles. We worked together to enhance our efforts in Afghanistan. We had a bilateral commission that didn't draw headlines, but produced results in many areas of mutual interest and concern. But it's also important that we work with Europe, and that Europe also work to make sure that we try to shape and create a positive relationship with Russia. And I will admit, it is challenging right now. Russia ended all of our aid programs where we were working on ending tuberculosis, helping abused children, and so much else. So it's going to have to be a mutual effort. Europe and the United States, both bilaterally and together, working to try to persuade Russia, and particularly Russian leadership, that they should become more integrated into and connected with Europe and the West. That's where the future lies, and we hope that the next few years will be more successful doing that.
Before this programme began, we all sat around discussing the kind of questions everyone here would like to ask you, and one came up a number of times. Says a British Pakistani, you were suggesting this one.
Secretary Clinton, my name's Seher Sarwar. I'm from Dubai, but a British Pakistani. My biggest question to you was, firstly, are you planning on writing your memoirs already? And if you are, following in the footsteps of Madeleine Albright in hers, where she said that her lasting regret was what happened in Rwanda. What would you say was your lasting regret?
Well, certainly the loss of American lives in Benghazi was something that I deeply regret, and am working hard to make sure we do everything we can to prevent. When you do these jobs, you have to understand at the very beginning that you can't control everything. There are terrible situations right now being played out in the Congo, Syria, where we all wish that there were clear paths that we could follow together in the international community to try to resolve. So every day is a mixture of trying to end crises, help people be smart about using the tools of American diplomacy and development to join in with others who are facing similar crises as we are. But I take away far more positive memories. And yes, I will write a memoir. I don't know what I'll say in it yet, but I'll have a chance to go into greater detail on this and other matters.
Our next question comes from Elisa, who's German, and it's as much a plea as a question, I think.
Yes, very much. Dear Madam Secretary, I'm Elisa from Germany, and just before the show, we've been talking about how we would really like you to run for president. And we were wondering when you're going to make a decision on this really important question. And we believe that would be a really important symbol for women essentially all over the world.
Well, I am not thinking about anything like that right now. I am looking forward to finishing up my tenure as Secretary of State, and then catching up on about 20 years of sleep deprivation. In fact, you say you're from Germany. I spoke this morning to your Chancellor, Chancellor Merkel, and someone I have admired and watched over a number of years. I do want to see more women compete for the highest positions in their countries. And I will do what I can, whether or not it is up to me to make a decision on my own future. I, right now, am not inclined to do that, but I will do everything I can to make sure that women compete at the highest levels, not only in the United States, but around the world. Because I take seriously your question, and I think it's not only for young women, it's for young men, it's for our future. We have to break down these attitudes that kind of pigeonhole and stereotype people. Like, what does a leader look like? Well, a leader looks like somebody who's a man. And in so many ways around the world today, I'm sitting here with a journalist from Australia, which has a woman prime minister. Women are subjecting themselves to the political process, which is never easy anywhere. And I want to see more of that. You have to have a thick skin, I will tell you that. But it's really important that women are out there competing at the highest levels of government and business, not only to demonstrate the capacity and quality of women's leadership, but also to take advantage of the talents of every person we have.